Welcome to Between the Reads, where we shine a spotlight on some of the most talented Black authors in the industry to discuss their works of fiction and the inspirations behind them. Each episode will dive into the rich and diverse world of literature, exploring everything from historical fiction to romance and speculative fiction to YA and beyond. Tune in as we celebrate the voices of Black authors and the power of storytelling. Are you ready, Boos and Bros? Then sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Hey, all my Boos and Bros out there in podcast land. It is 2024, and January, by the time you are hearing this, will be over. It will be last day of January. Done. Gone. What have you been doing with your life? And for those who might be listening for the first time, this is Rants and Rambles.
How you doing?
I do this at the end of every month, something new I started last year, and my co-host is the wonderful, amazing, astounding, beautiful, gorgeous, funny as hell, talented as hell, blunt as hell, will tell you what the hell you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not. CM Lockhart, better known as Chelsea.
Hi.
Chelsea, how you doing, baby?
I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm good.
Yay, we're back.
We're back. We're back. I'm so excited. Y'all, my energy was not even up before I started talking. I hit that record and then just boom.
I just need y'all to know that prior to this, I could not hear Audra. And I was telling her, I was like, hey, you're really low in my headphones. You're really low in my headphones. I yank her up all the way to 100 so I can hear her. And the first thing she does as soon as that number goes down is she starts screaming in my ear. I can hear her now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeesh. I'm like, let me turn her back down to where she was.
Turn it back down, baby. Turn it back down.
Yeesh. Trying to bust an eardrum.
Oh, listen.
I'm be deaf, y'all, and it's gonna be Audra's fault. I just want y'all to know that.
It is not my fault. All I'm doing is talking normally. I'm not even yelling, but it's coming through loud, I guess. I don't know.
Y'all hear her lying in real time? In real time. To my face.
I'm not. This is my normal voice. I mean, come on. What am I supposed to whisper?
I'm sick of her already, and we just on week 4 of the new year. We just got here.
I mean, I don't have a I need to install like a little volume button and give you a remote menu so you can like.
Would appreciate it. Thank you. We'll expect that on my birthday. Thank you.
Probably have my ass on mute all the time.
Don't give me too much power now.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll be walking around and have left the podcast and still on mute. Nobody can hear me like, Audra, what did you say? What's wrong with you? Where's your voice? Chelsea has it. I'm writing it on a notepad.
Not you essentially making me Ursula. Like, I can't.
Yeah, got that shit in a book on the shelf.
But you know what? It's okay because I will stand by the fact that Ursula was not a villain. Ariel signed a contract. She read her the terms and conditions in a whole 3-minute song. And Homegirl agreed because she wanted some legs. I mean, I don't understand why Ursula is the villain here. I don't. And I don't understand why Homegirl didn't get on land and just straight attack the dude. She didn't say it had to be a consensual kiss. She didn't say he had to be in love with you. She said your lips need to meet his. Baby, the way I would have been single-minded focused. Like, I'm not trying to talk to you, babes. Not right now. Not right now. We've got priorities.
Do you see why I love doing Rants and Rambles, y'all? Because this is totally unscripted. When I tell y'all, it's totally unscripted. And she took from a remote, it went to Ursula not being a villain.
She's not. She's not.
I mean, she kind of was, though.
What'd she do?
I mean, I guess nothing when you look at it your way, but you're a villain yourself. So
okay, well,
a villain ain't gonna see another villain as a villain.
I mean, some of the villains were really kind of like bad, right? I mean, Scar just straight up killed Mufasa. Like, we're not about that. Scar was a problem, right? You know, mean, but Beauty and the Beast, like, was the witch even a villain?
That this is the
Was
person
she?
who wrote Brandy, who just straight up sent people to the gods and had no problems with it.
But you know what? She warned them, because you know what? Brandy would not have sent anyone to the gods if they had just minded their business. You see how not minding your business, trying to mind other people's business, gets you in places you ain't trying to be? Like the first two people that she sent in the book, the first two people, you know what they could have just did? Not looked for her. That's it. That's it.
Y'all realize that even though this is Rants and Rambles, this is really Chelsea's show. I'm just her sidekick.
That is not true.
She brings
that
all
is
the
not
comedy
true.
to the show, and all I do is laugh.
I am just saying, like, she's the one bringing stuff up. It's not me. It's not me. She does this all the time. She tries to blame me. Like, I'm the one doing stuff and instigating stuff, and I just be defending myself.
No,
that's it.
No, you really don't.
First she said I was going to mute her, and then I was just like, oh, so now you calling me a villain. And then
so she makes the connection between muting me and Ursula, and off we go.
You know what? I can't help that. I got ADHD, and my brain goes everywhere. All right? That's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This right here, this is why every single month, this episode always gets the most downloads out of all the shows.
I don't know how to help you. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I just be showing up. I just literally just be clicking on it and be like, hey, Audra, I'm here.
All I'm saying is, if you and I were in the same state, and we did this together, like live together, as bad as it is now, it would be 1,000 times worse.
It would actually probably, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm far more interesting over the internet because I could just like pop on at the last minute and then I can leave as soon as we're done to go mind my business. And I feel like that makes me a far more enjoyable person. I think that's actually really helpful because if we were in person, I'd be like, oh, I haven't eaten today. See, like before, I could just like scarf down some lunch in like 5 minutes. But if I had to be somewhere, baby, now that's an acquirement. That's a.
But we could eat during the show. And all that would entail, and all the nonsense that would ensue from eating during the show.
If y'all are listening to this and you work a 9 to 5, don't let Audra think that you should not take your lunch break. Do not work on your lunch break. Take your time. Don't let nobody convince you that your lunch break you need to be working through because you don't. She just said. I
said we could eat during the show. Kill two birds with one stone.
See, don't she sound like a overactive manager being like, so I noticed that you weren't at your desk during lunch. I was looking for you. Did you check that email that I sent you 2 minutes ago? Huh? Have you replied to it? Like, I just got back from lunch. I have not even clocked in yet. You shouldn't even be talking to me, honestly. Like, I'm not getting paid for this time, which is wild because it brings me back. It reminds me of when I was a teacher, and I swear I was the problem. I know I was the problem. She was the problem. She was like, of the whole problem, the problem was 100%. My principal was 80% of it. I'll even hold you to 70%. I was a good solid 20 to 30% of the problem. I ain't even gonna hold you. I was. But I don't believe in working for free. Like, that's just not something that I was raised with. It's not in my core. God did not gift that to me when I got here.
Black people work for free for 250 years. We good.
It's not in me. It's not in me. And so I'm just kind of like, when she was like, so Ms. Lockhart, did you do the assignment that I gave you? I was like, well, first of all, you're not my teacher. And third of all.
Wait, we went from first to third. There wasn't even a second.
Final point.
The first was so important that it held a first and a second.
You get me. You get me. Third of all, you don't pay me to work on the weekends. My contract says I have to be here in this building from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Anything outside of that, I'm not getting paid for. Excluding holidays and excluding holidays and any
and breaks
or any days that the
and
building is closed.
yep.
I read the fine print. I know what it says. You did not pay me to work on Saturday, babes. You're not running me time and a half. So no, didn't do it. And it's like, okay, Chelsea, but teachers are salary. And your point is what? That salary covers me being in that building from Monday through Friday. From 7 to 3. From 7 to 3. 7 to 3.
You're just proving my point even more. You're not making your own case here.
I wish you would tell me.
That if I come here and stay past my 7 to 3, I'm still not going to get any more pay than if I stayed here from 7 to 3. So guess what? I'm staying here from 7 to 3. You just proved my point.
I clocked out. I literally clocked out. And towards the end of it, when I got real disrespectful. She would just tell me to ask me to do stuff. And I'd be like, well, when did you expect me to do that? Like, I would just like you to say it. Say it out your face. When did you expect me to do that? Because it sounds like you're implying that you expected me to do it at home on my personal time. And because I remember the reason I got written up the first time was because she was like, oh, you didn't have any blocks for your students. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Were there blocks provided for us by the district? And she was like, well, no. Well, that's why we have to get creative. And I was like, I did. I used real life objects so they could understand how it works in real life. Like, you know what a rectangular prism looks like? A fucking chip box. So I bought a box of chips and we passed the box around. Like, what do you want from me? Is that not creativity? What? And then she was like, well, Miss Showgreen has blocks. Miss Showgreen has been teaching the first grade for fucking 15 years. Yeah, she's got damn blocks. I just got here. And before this, I taught sixth grade. Them niggas knew what shapes were. So, no, I didn't have blocks prepared for you. So, and then she goes back and forth with me. and then finally, I'm just dead ass looking at her, and she was like, well, sometimes we have to go in above and beyond for our students. And I just dead ass looked at her and I was like, are you telling me that I should have spent my personal money from my paycheck to supply my classroom
because
that is publicly funded?
Mm-hmm. That's what teachers do.
And she's like, no, Miss Lockhart retracted that real quick. I was like, okay, so if you didn't provide me with blocks and you're not implying that I should pay for my own blocks, where did you expect these blocks to come from? And she just
stealing.
Are we encouraging theft?
Do we have a block cartel that I'm supposed to go and
was I just supposed to go snatch him from the kindergartners? Like, how is it supposed to work?
No, there was a block cartel, obviously, and you're supposed to go hit them up, and they're supposed to give you.
Well, either way, she wasn't wanting me the money to pay the cartels.
Yeah, I'm just like, cartels require money, and if you ain't giving me no money, and you sending me to the block cartel, fuck, I'm supposed to get them blocks with. They want their money.
All I need y'all to know is that she looked at me real funny after that, and I was just like, well, he, ha, ha, bitch. We're about to be a comedian because ain't no way I'm about to go spend. Do y'all know how expensive blocks are? Do you know how expensive blocks are? Because, like, the educational kind? Oh, yeah, sweetie, those run, like, you get a set of 5 for, like, $30. I had 25 students in my class. 25 students. And you only get 5. So, 5 times 3 is 15. I mean, you expected me to spend $150 on blocks for children I would rather yeet out a window most days? No.
First of all, we'd had one set, and they would have gathered round.
And that's exactly what we did.
Gathered round the carpet, and everybody would look.
I had a tissue box that was a cube. Okay, I had a chip box that was a rectangular prism. Okay, like we had real world objects in our class.
Listen,
and each group had a shape. And you know what? After your little timer went off, you know what you did? You passed your shape to the next group. And everybody, by the end of it, knew what the fuck a rectangular prism was.
Listen, in case y'all didn't know, don't ever get Chelsea talk about being a teacher because
hated it. It wasn't my calling. And let me correct this. I hate adults who think that they know what they're doing in education and they really don't, because it's not about the children. Don't let anybody tell you it's about the children. The teachers who are good at teaching, who stay after 20 years when you know for a fact that if you were in that position, you would have punched somebody in the throat and caught at least 3 charges. That teacher is there for the children. Everybody else, nah, they're playing games. They're in it because they fall into the same category as like nurses who don't help you. It's a freaking power trip. And it's just like, baby, I'm so sorry that you sucked at life so bad that you had to come back to school after you finished. But this is not the power trip that you think it is. You're yelling at a second grader to walk in a straight line. Who gets off on this? Why? I don't care if homeboy ain't got no shoes on in my class. Does that mean he's going to pass the test and then take his shoes off? What? You hung up on the wrong things. Like literally, and they make such arbitrary rules. Like kids can't go to the water fountain by themselves. So you're telling me because student A is thirsty, students A through Z all have to line up to go to the water fountain? What? And then you're telling them, oh, well, they can't eat in the classroom. So you're telling me that he's supposed to sit here hungry because his mom dropped him off after lunch and didn't think to feed him beforehand? Bruh, you sound about as smart as a $2 bill. I don't understand how any of this is supposed to work. You don't care about the children. You don't care about their well-being. You have people arguing not to give them free lunch. Like, yes, starving children sounds so great. We should absolutely do that. I'm going to go cast my vote for racist big racist so that we can make sure that none of the children are fed. Like, that's how you sound. Anyway. I'm not going to apologize because this is Rants and Rambles, but when I tell y'all the education system is a joke, and not even like, sure. It's the kind of joke that like would have gotten canceled from like Warner Brothers in like the 30s. Like it was that bad. But then you got people being like, oh, but school is so important. Maybe in other countries where they teach you things.
Listen. When I took my daughter out of middle school to homeschool her because she was being picked on and they refused to do anything, and then these kids were threatening to put her in a locker because on her first day of middle school, you know, she was still little. She hadn't grown yet. And so, you know, she was literally the shortest person in the entire 6th grade class. And they were threatening. These kids were threatening, oh, she's so little, we gonna stuff her in a locker. And she literally came home and was like, I'm scared these people are gonna stuff me in a locker. So I go up there and I'm talking to the principal and he's like, well,
they haven't done anything.
She's safe. I'm like, how is she safe? Well, because, you know, there are teachers there. I was like, where are the teachers? Well, in their classrooms. And, you know, but she's safe in the classroom. We just can't guarantee what happens in the hallway. If you can't guarantee what happens in the hallway, then my child is not safe. And aren't your teachers supposed to be standing outside when classes are switching from one to the other to monitor the hallways to make sure that things like this aren't going on? Well, yeah, they are, but they're grown-ups and I can't make them do it. Sir, you're their boss. And if it's part of their job, then you need to go out there and make them stand in the hallways. But what you're telling me is my child is not safe. So I brought her home. And that was the beginning of my homeschooling. And when I tell you, because the program that we ended up going into, they have the kids do this test so they can see where they are. And this child was nothing but honor roll in elementary school, nothing but honor roll. And when she did the Calvert test, she placed at her level for everything except for math. Math, she was what they considered 2 grades behind. So we had to work to get her up to par. And when I saw how much she was not learning that I thought she was learning, that's when I brought my son home the following year. I let him finish out his year, you know, and then I brought him home, and it was just like,
we got this,
you know. But these schools, the public, especially as my husband calls it, the public fool system.
Yeah.
Unless you are we live in what's considered a blue collar area of Anne Arundel County. Now, be certain there are areas of Anne Arundel County that are very rich. Severna Park, Severn, parts of Pasadena, Arnold, great schools. Why? Because that's where the rich white people live. But here, where the blue collar white folks live, no. Schools are, and the thing is, I was like, we would get done with school, like they would do their work. And we would be done. We would start at like 9 because they wanted to. I was like, okay, when do y'all want to start? We want to
That's a
start at
reasonable
9.
time to start because you
Yeah.
can sleep, get up, get your life
Yep.
started. Like, I
We
know.
started at 9 and we were done by 1 o'clock. And I would talk to the Calvert people. I was like, they're done at 1 o'clock. They were like, yeah. I was like, that's it. They were like, yeah, because you're not having to teach 50 students and you don't, it's just you and your kids. So if you're done by 1 o'clock, you're done by 1 o'clock. But if there's a concept that they're not getting, you can take time and go over that. That's the beauty of homeschool. So we were done by 1 o'clock and we were out doing stuff, going to the park, taking them to the zoo, taking them to different things, educational stuff to reinforce what they were learning, going to museum. So that whole being in school for 8 hours.
There's a reason why prisons and schools are both called institutions, and it's not because it's good for you. It's because school does not need to take 8 hours. It takes 8 hours because it's treated like babysitting. Most adults have to work for 8 hours and they need somewhere for their kids to go. And so school is that default place. And that is why most kids fall behind, because their parents don't really care if they learn things or not. They just need them to be out the way and taken care of for the 8 hours that they have to go to work. And by the time we've all worked 8 hours, if you're listening to this and you're an adult, you're tired. You're mentally exhausted. You do not want to go to work for 8 hours and then come back and then have to figure out how to do your kids' homework. And it's even worse because as a teacher, it was one of those things where like parents would be like, well, why can't you just spend, like I had a kid in the 2nd grade, he couldn't read. And it's like, okay, I understand that. I'm letting you as the parent know that he can't read. I don't teach reading in 2nd grade. That is literally not a qualification that I have. That is the reason. There was a reason why kindergarten and first grade teachers have different qualification requirements, because teaching someone how to read is different from teaching how to improve their reading. Because 2nd grade, I'm teaching comprehension to prepare them for 3rd grade. I am not teaching them how to decipher letters. I am not teaching them that this is what these sounds make. That is a completely different skill set. You as his parent, I'm telling you, hey, you need to do something about this. And she's like, well, why can't you do something about this? Is that not your job? No, my job is to tell you that something needs to be done about it because this is your child. And my job, this curriculum that I've got from the state that says I have to teach it, says that I have to keep going because there's only one child in my class of 25 who can't read. Therefore, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, which means this is now your job. You need to sit with him.
It should be your job anyway, because why would you not be concerned about your child not knowing how to read?
Right. And then she was like, well, do you offer tutoring or anything after school? No, ma'am, I do not. I work 8 to 5, just like I work 8 hours a day, but realistically 10 hours. And no, I'm with your kid like 8 hours out the day while you're not. I do not want to spend another hour and a half to 2 hours with him. And third of all, you're also late picking him up every day. Why would I trust you to leave him with me after work when I'm trying to go home? I got a 45-minute drive, bruh. I ain't trying to be here with him. This is and the thing is, as a teacher, it was so frustrating because it's like, I know how I sound and it sounds like, oh, Chelsea, you just didn't care. It's not that I didn't care, but realistically, a lot of parents expect teachers to come in, be with their children all day. And I'm talking elementary school, right? Because in middle school, yeah, you've got changing, you're changing classes. So you only have to be with those particular group of kids for like 45 to 90 minutes. And if you have them for a lunch period, okay, you've got to keep them for like 2 hours. But other than that, you are really like with those kids all day long. And that thing that your kid does on the weekends that irritates the fuck out of you, yeah, he does it all day in class too. And it irritates the fuck out of me too. And you don't do anything about it because you think it's cute when he only does it on Saturdays in his room. But when he's in my class and I'm telling you like, hey, did you know that your kid likes to do backflips off the wall? Like literal backflips off the wall. Yeah, he does that. It's usually not a problem. It's a problem when we're taking a math test.
Yeah.
Huh?
You know what? 2020, a lot of parents found out.
I cackled.
What kind of hellions their children
cackled.
really were.
There are like 4 students specifically in my mind. I was like, yeah, you at home with your mama right now, ain't you? I was like, yeah, you gonna come back to school and you gonna be good on that Adderall, ain't you? because your mama swore up and down you didn't need no medication. And I'm sorry, if your kindergarten teacher, here's the thing, most people do not want to medicate children, but if your kindergarten teacher is saying, hey, your kid has ADHD, I think you should consider medicating him, and your first grade teacher is saying, hey, I think your kid needs medication, and your third grade teacher is saying that, and his bus driver is saying that, and the coach is saying, the coach who has a big gym for that kid to run around in is saying, hey, I think you might want to medicate him.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Baby, all of these trained professionals are not saying the same thing.
Because they love to put, especially black kids, on that medicine when they don't need it. But like you said, if every single teacher, every single year, and a coach is telling you, then you need to get that checked out.
And then you want to come to me, his teacher, and be like, well, how do you think I should discipline him to make him listen? Baby, what you want me to tell you?
Do I look like a psychologist?
Do I look like a psychologist? I can tell you what my parents did. I can't recommend it necessarily, but my parents beat me and I turned out fine. Had a good old-fashioned belt.
Act up. Wham! Okay, I'm good.
And I need to add this in here.
Correct.
My parents were not abusive. I need to put that disclaimer in here.
Nope, our parents are not abusive. But when we got out of line, they course corrected us very quickly.
Also, I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. There was a belt involved, and we were fine. Me and my brother are both successful adults, and we love our parents to bits.
I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and my mother is Italian, so it was whatever was within the reach of her hand that she would get me with when I got out of line. A slipper, a wooden spoon, a hot track, a broom, whatever was within.
Gentle parenting wasn't a thing. Not in that sense. Not in that sense.
Nah, but, whatever was within her reach.
Yeah, but all that to say that, teaching is wild. The education system is a joke. I will say this, if you have the ability to homeschool your kid as someone who was a student and a teacher at different times, I highly recommend that you do that, because no matter how well-meaning your kid's teacher is, they don't have enough time, period. Because the thing is, for a teacher, the minute you pull up, right? not accounting for your commute. You pull up, you clock in on your computer, right? You have lesson plans that you have to confirm. You have copies that you have to make. If you are teaching lower grades, you have actual materials that you have to procure. You have to move kids and desks. And the thing is, I think a lot of people underestimate the social management that has to happen in a classroom, especially in the younger grades, because that is a real thing that you have to deal with. This kid doesn't want to sit next to this kid. This kid cannot be next to this kid because they got in a fight on the playground and now they're arguing and now they can't sit next to each other, okay? This kid steals pencils, so he can't sit him next to the kid whose parents buy all the extra school supplies, and she keeps like a whole box of pencils in her desk. Can't sit her next to him. This kid is super messy and always has Cheeto stains, so you can't sit her next to the neat freak, okay? Like, there's a whole dynamic, but then you're also expected to change your classroom dynamic every 6 weeks, minimum. You have to change it around. You have to move it. You have to come up with a new dynamic. Also, enforcing rules with 25 kids when every classroom that they go to has a different set of rules. It looks different. The hallway has different rules than the playground, has different rules from the cafeteria, has different rules from the gym, has different rules from the bathroom. All of it has different rules, and a lot of them are not set up mentally to prepare for that because there's no structure at home, and so you're trying to be that, and then that's not accounting for all the things that they bring from home, like mentally, that they have to deal with. Like, one kid had his baby sister was just born. She was screaming all night, so he's exhausted. He doesn't want to go to gym. You try to make him go to gym, he cries. Now all the other kids are picking on him, calling him a crybaby because he is literally just to the point where he's exhausted to the point of tears. You don't know what to do, but now that, again, social dynamic changes. And this is not talking about teaching math where they don't know what the fuck numbers are, and you have to be like, this is a number. This is a concept. And then, not to mention, like, antiquated teaching methods that you have to teach that don't make sense, like a number line.
Yep. Homeschooling is better. And please don't come to me. People used to say, "Oh, what about socialization?" My kids were doing more stuff when they were
Let me tell you something.
homeschooled than they were when they were in school, because there are all kinds of homeschooling groups and they do homeschooling trips to museums and all that kind of stuff. And plus, if socializing is my child being bullied and being threatened to be put in a locker and my other child being picked on, if that's socializing, my kids don't need that.
Let me tell you something, Audra. I hate that argument because it's just like, y'all clearly have never been to a fucking school, like, ever. Just say that. Just say that. Because you know what you're doing when you walk in? You sit in the cafeteria, right? And they tell you, what? Don't talk. Eat your breakfast, work on your lunch. You are not allowed to talk. You walk in the hallways. You're not allowed to talk. You sit down. Your teacher might give you a couple minutes in the morning to talk to your friends. But then once the bell rings and you do the Pledge of Allegiance, which is really fucking weird, by the way, after you do that, you're back to, no, you can't talk to each other. You can't talk to each other. You can't talk to each other. You can't even talk at lunch. Because there's so many kids crammed in there. If all of them were talking at a normal volume, it would become a scream fest and there's no way to keep control. So they are told that they cannot talk above a whisper, which is their time for socialization. And then in Texas, I don't know what it is in other states, but Texas, you only had like 15 minutes for recess. If you got 30 minutes for recess, your teacher was taking it from like science or social studies. So it's just kind of like you only get 15 minutes on the playground. 15 minutes.
All that energy out. And
in
my
8
daughter's
hours.
School, they had 30 minutes, but at recess, check this out. They were playing like touch football. You can't touch each other.
Yeah, no, you can't touch each other because people get hurt. Kids take it too far.
And then at recess, no, you can't run.
Yep, no, you can't run because you'll run into each other and you'll get hurt.
Yeah. And then, no, you can't climb the jungle gym that's there in the schoolyard that was put there for you.
Because
and I was like, Adriana told me that. And I was like, so what do y'all do? She was like, we sit down on the benches because that's all we're allowed to do. But then when we sit down, they yell at us and say we can't sit down during recess. I'm like, so what the hell are you supposed to do? She said, we literally just stand there, Mom, and just talk. I was like, yeah, okay.
Literally, I got written up. She's not making it up because I got written up.
No, she's not. I know
because there was a playground and it was like a brand new jungle gym. It went up, cool, but it's in a tiny. It could literally fit into a decent sized living room. Honestly, it was a tiny space inside of a gate, but the gate itself was on this giant grassy area. So my kids, mind you, all of mine had ADHD. I don't care what their moms say. All of them had ADHD. Most of them did. Because I'm like, ain't no way you're sitting here trying to do a handstand in your chair because I stepped out for 5 seconds to watch Miss Shogreen's class so she could go to the bathroom. There's no way, right? Anyway, I was just like, we're just going to run. Because literally, I remember the kid was on brink of tears. He was like, Miss Lockhart, please, I just want to run. Can I just run? I just want to run to the fence and back. Can I do that? And I was like, sure, kid, go ahead. And he was like, hoo, 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 hoo. And I was like, good Lord, you were holding in all of that energy? And then the other kid saw he was running. He was like, oh, can we run too? I was like, run, kids. Run to your heart's content. Literally, they're just running on the grass. Miss Shogreen came out. She was like, oh, your kids are running? I'm going to go to the other end. You're going to stand here. I'm going to stand there. We're going to watch them. They're going to run. I was like, let's do it. We had 50 kids just running. And it was great. The rest of that day, beautiful, brilliant. Everybody had gotten out sufficient energy. Our classes were efficient. We were like, we're going to do this every day.
Right.
Literally.
I don't know what the hell is going on, because when I was a kid, you had to take recess. The only way you couldn't do recess was if you had a cast on your arm or on your leg, and even then, you still had to have a doctor's note. We were outside running. They would have us up, and if somebody was sitting down, they're like, what you doing sitting down? Get up. Go play. There's kickball over there. They playing Red Rover over there. They on the swing sets over here. And when we got in from recess, because recess was right after lunch, we was good. We had reading, and we was just like, all right.
And see, that's the thing though. Like, it's not about what's best for kids. It's all like, basically they're expected not to be children for most of the day. And it's ridiculous because, like I said, I got written up because they were like, the principal put me and said, so, well, Miss Lockhart, and I hate that. Well, Miss Lockhart, what? Huh?
Bitch, just say what you gotta say.
And she was like, well, there's a reason why there's a gate there. It's to protect the children. I was like, that gate isn't big enough for all of them to be in it at the same time. So they want to run. What do you expect? I tell them, well, they're allowed to play in the gate. I was like, they want to run. How would you like me to address that? Well, they're allowed to play. Bitch, you are not a broken record. Answer the damn question. What do you want me to tell them, that they are not allowed to run? Well, Miss Lockhart, that's kind of what the rules are. I was like, and why is that a rule? I would just like to understand. It's like, well, there's a parking lot right there. You mean the teacher parking lot for all the teachers who are currently in the building at work? So they're not moving? I was like, they're going to get hit by a car in a parking lot with no moving cars? This is not the bus parking lot. This is not the visitors parking lot. This is the teacher parking lot. Bruh.
Craziness.
Bruh. Anyway, we're going to get off this topic because when I tell y'all, nothing about it makes sense. And I'm like, if I ever have children, they will never. Literally, I was telling Ben, there's like a bunch of like middle schools and stuff around here. And when we were looking for a place to live, I was like, it cannot be within a school district. I don't even want to see a school district. I want to see no slow down for children. None of that. None of that. All right. Because I hate it. That's why when I be driving past houses and they're in the school zone, I was like, man, I wonder if they built the school after you bought your house, because that would be messed up. But if you bought your house next to a school, you're weird and untrustworthy. I wouldn't. No way. But I was also driving by a school and I was just like, you ever just look at those and be like, wow, I'm really glad that I don't have to go to one of those ever again. Because that's how I be feeling when I be passing by schools.
Listen, our elementary school and the middle school and the high school are all bing, bing, bing within a 2-mile radius of our home.
Hate that for you.
When Adriana, when I brought her home for homeschooling and stuff, and even now, like when she drives to go to her flight lessons and stuff, and she sees, because the buses, they're all up and down. And she's like, losers.
Not losers. I'm dead.
She was like, losers. They have to go to school. I'm done with that.
Literally. Because there's this the meme or whatever. The question is like, hey, which pill would you take, the red one or the blue one? And the red one sends you back to like to being a child, so you can correct all your mistakes, or the blue one gives you like $1 million or something like that, or $10 million. I was like, blue one all day, every day. Every day.
I don't even go back and correct nothing. I ain't going back through none of that. No.
I was like, if I had to go back, the earliest I would go back would be 18. And that's only to change my major. That's only to change my major in college. That's it. That's it. But you telling me I got to go back to elementary school? I got to go back to middle school? I got to go back to high school? Bruh, go ahead and pass me the gun. I'll do it myself. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Take a shot of cyanide on the rocks. Thank you. Ain't doing it.
Cyanide on the rocks.
Ain't doing it.
Oh my gosh. My stomach hurts.
It's not in me. It's not in me. And that's why I'm like, for the people who genuinely peaked in high school, I hate that for you so much. Like, that's
because
sad.
what the hell, I can think of people right off the top of my head who peaked in high school. I'm like, bruh, you got a whole life ahead of you. Why do you want to peak in high school? Like, let's not do that. Let's save some of it for when we get out of high school. Please?
You want to spend your whole life going back? That sounds miserable.
You want to spend your whole life like you peaked in high school. What the hell do you have to look forward to? Like,
woo. Oh, because
reunions, because you could go back and relive your little glory days.
I literally, when I got out of high school, I was like, delete it, social media. So when people find me now, I'm like, oh, you looked for me, didn't you? Because I was like, I'm not gonna say I don't look the same, but I don't carry myself the same. I've been married for a significant amount of time. My name ain't even the same, bruh. Like, I didn't post anything about my life meaningful on social media. So if you looked for me, first of all, why? Second of all, how? Third of all, we're not cool. We're not friends. Like, do not establish relationship. Do not engage. All right? Treat me like we are on separate planets and we don't speak the same language no more, because we don't. If you hit me up, you're like, oh, you remember at Dudley? Nope, sure don't. I hate that for you if you still do, because I definitely wiped that from my memory. Hated it. And the thing is, I used to be so like confused because on Disney Channel, they really I grew up in the age of High School Musical. I thought high school was going to be great. I thought it was going to be fantastic.
That's what my daughter thought too.
And then I got there and I was just like, "Oh, all of y'all suck." Like, I'm not going to say I would hurt you, but if you were on fire and it was raining, I would definitely get you an umbrella. I would build you an awning to keep you dry.
I need you to burn all the way
Like,
to the bone.
I wouldn't set you on fire. I wouldn't.
No, but if you happen to catch on fire, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that that fire can burn.
I ain't going to help put you out. Let me say it like that.
Oh my God. I feel so bad for anybody that this is your first exposure to Between the Reads, because I really do talk about books, but Rants and Rambles is free for all. We talk about whatever.
Oh, I mean, we can talk about books.
I'm not talking about no books. I ain't got no books to talk about.
See, I mean, that's
Rants
bad.
and Rambles. Rants and Rambles, we do what we want. So,
yeah,
because we need some freedom from the books every once in a while. We got to just talk about something other than books.
Yeah, I mean,
Just saying.
I'm just saying, I'm always down to talk and run my mouth. I'm here. I'm here.
I mean, I'm here. I'm just saying, for people that are listening,
I'm hot though.
if you would,
But
here, let me let you blow the fan on you there. Can you feel that?
y'all see how trifling she is sometimes. I'd be like, I'm hot, and she'll be like, I gotta faint.
I'm just trying to help you. I'm letting it blow.
Nah, I appreciate it. Nah, when we get off here, I'm coming out this hoodie for real.
Which I can see your name right there.
Yeah. So we got the Melon Library hoodie. We got the merch. So if you want to support the Melon Library, which is an online database of books written by Black authors, which if you don't want to support a Black-owned business about a database of books written by Black authors, I have questions for you.
Questions. Lots.
Like, who are you and what are you doing with your life? I mean, you clearly peaked in high school. Anyway, go get the merch. It supports the Melon Library. Prove that you did not peak in high school.
Oh, Lord. And I will put a link to the Melanin Library in the show notes on YouTube and in the I don't even know what to do with this anymore.
Just head to Melanin Library, Melanin, MELANIN, Library, LIBRARY.com, and just click on that little shop button. Just click on it.
Now, notice how when she stops, she says Melanin Library, but other than that, she says
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to be using my telephone voice this entire time? Because I can do that.
Library, y'all. Library is the library.
Head to the Melanin Library, where you can look at all the books found by wonderful, amazing Black authors that feature Black characters. It's sorted by age range. It's sorted by genre. You can find anything that you're looking for. It comes with a description, and it comes with a link to the Amazon website where you can get the book. You can get it on the Kindle, or you can get the paperback or the hardback, or however it's available to suit your fancy. I hope that pleases you. Does that make you feel better, Audra?
And now do the little fast voice at the end that, that does all the that does all the little caveats, like.
Just so you know that reading diversely may lead to an expanded worldview, please be careful and mindful when picking up new books. Please consult with your doctor and your librarian before deciding to read one of these books.
I quit. I'm done.
The Mountain Library is not to be held responsible for any change in worldview that comes from reading one of our books.
The Melanin Library is not responsible for the dismantling of racism that will happen as a result of reading these books. Oh, God.
Don't be a racist. Read a book.
There's the soundbite. seconds. Noted.
I am literally about to make a series on YouTube called Don't Be a Racist, Read a Book.
Oh, God, that needs to go on a shirt. Oh, you need to add that to the Melanin Library merch. Don't be racist. Read the book.
I will. I will. If it wasn't, if Tina Turner hadn't talked about it, the thing that jumped into my head was read the book, anime, read the book. I'm hot.
And that shirt needs to have the picture of Ike, Larry Fishburne playing Ike, like.
Honestly, if Tina Turner hadn't talked about how she hated the movie because it basically just like made a mockery of one of the worst lived experiences
of her life,
I would. So, but nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna disrespect a woman like that. But the movie though. Anywho, we do talk about books, y'all. Just so you know.
We do, but not necessarily during Rants and Rambles.
Not necessarily. So,
because this is just our time to just, we all talk about books. This is just our time to de-stress, have a little fun.
Absolutely.
Or sometimes talk about something serious, or sometimes both. That's just what we do.
Sometimes there be drama in the community, but as of right now, there's nothing that I could talk about on record. So, we're just going to leave that at what it is.
But I'm just saying. I've just decided that I need a break. I took a break. My last show for 2023 was November 1st. I did not intend. I had shows scheduled for throughout November and throughout the first part of December. But then I had a cousin who passed away and a friend who had a heart transplant, and I needed a break. I needed time to process. And I was on social media a little bit, just to I posted some Christmas stuff and just to look around. But for the most part, I was pretty much off of social media. Like Chelsea knows, she would check in on me on Discord, hey.
Can I tell them the truth? Can I tell them the truth that I am the devil in your ear who's like, quit, don't do it.
I was like, Chelsea, I just need a break. I just don't want to do this. My heart isn't into. She was like, I'm the queen of quit. So she was like,
queen of quitting. When I tell you, I Marie Kondo everything that applies to people, that applies to concepts, that applies to work. Okay. Yep. That applies to books for sure. If it's not bringing you joy, why are you reading it?
Yep.
If you don't want to do the podcast anymore, it's your podcast, bruh.
Yep.
You are your own boss. Imagine telling yourself you got to come into work and you work for yourself, and then being mad at the boss who told you to come into work.
Yep. I had to put it aside for a while, and I had to break. And let me tell you, that 2.5 month break was glorious, because I love to read. I have always loved to read since I was a little girl. I can remember the first book that I had memorized that my mom said I was sitting on my porch. And the kids that I was reading to thought I was reading to them. It was Tim and Tom Play Ball. But my mom had read it to me so many times, I had it memorized. And I knew when to turn the pages. That's how long I've loved reading. But when I tell y'all that between those two health scares happening, the death and the health scare, I was like, I need some time to process this. Because my cousin who died very unexpectedly. Very, very unexpectedly. And that just threw me for a loop.
Sorry.
And so... and then my friend, he's my age, having a heart transplant. He was in the hospital expecting to, who knows if he was going to live or not. That's how serious it was. And when I say it was God, only God, that man got a heart within a couple of weeks of being in the hospital. He just texted me today, I'm doing really well. I'm getting stronger, But so I had to take a break. And that break was refreshing because I was tired of reading. I was reading books for shows, which I enjoy books. But when you're reading for a show, it's a different kind of reading, because I'm reading and I'm looking for themes, and I'm looking for metaphors and I'm looking for points that I could talk about and expand. Like if you listen to my show, you know I dig deep, as my girl DL says. I dig deep.
Yeah,
And
you actually read the book and you talk like you've read the book.
yes, and that's a different kind of reading. You know, because there are a lot of book podcasts out here, and there are probably some that they do read the book before they come on the show. But my feeling is I've had 161 authors on this show, and every single one of them is like, you're the first podcast that I've been on where the person read the book. So it's a different kind of reading, and it's exhausting because I don't do canned questions. I read, and I'm taking notes as I'm reading, and I'm folding pages, and I'm underlining, and I'm, these are things that I'm going back to make questions from. And I'm also writing questions as I'm reading. It's tiring, and especially since I was doing a show every week, and sometimes I had 2 shows in a week. So I'm reading 4 to 5 books a month. Now, for some people, that's nothing. Some people read, like my girl DL, they read 150, 200 books. I don't know how people do that. I take my hat off. It ain't me. It ain't me. But still, reading 5 books a month, writing notes for that.
Yeah.
Doing these shows, editing the shows.
It's work.
It's a lot of work. So that break was very refreshing. And I said all that to say, since y'all are listening, Between the Reads is going to be different this year. When I originally started this show 4 years ago, because by the way,
I saw that today. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. This was originally supposed to be a bi-weekly show. Now it is going to be a bi-weekly show because I need the time in between to just
breathe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I need that time.
I'm really proud of you for taking it.
I love authors, but and especially since there can be authors who can be a bit difficult to deal with. I'm putting it nicely. So, there are things some people mistake me, and this is not the authors I've had on this show for the most part, but they are authors who I have not responded to in DMs because they just come in my DMs, give me a book link, tell me to buy their book, and then tell me the date they want to be on the show.
It's about the respect, honestly. And a lot of people, and if you're listening to this, obviously if you made this far, then hopefully you know me. But if you are like a first time listener, I do want to make it clear that I'm only this way with Audra and that I do have a normal persona. Just throwing that out there. But as someone who also like hosts a podcast with guests, it's kind of astounding the amount of people who will be on the internet and be incredibly disrespectful and think that you owe them something or that they're doing you a favor. Like, especially if you have a podcast that centers around having a guest on the show, a lot of people will approach you as if I'm not on your show, you're not going to have a guest. And it's just like, baby doll, get in line. You are not the only person trying to be here. And then more so with me than with Audra, because I will say this about my personality. I'm very much like, I'm telling you exactly how I feel. I'm not being sarcastic or funny. I will shut this whole bitch down before I come on here and let you be disrespectful. The way I'm doing this work for free, the way I'm helping you, baby, if you come to me inappropriate, there's one woman on this planet who could talk to me any type of way. And unless your name is Mama, I am not finna talk. You're not finna talk to me crazy. I literally quit a whole job under contract in the middle of the year and packed all of my shit and grinched that bitch. I took name tags off the desk. I took numbers off the floor. I took all of my pencils that I bought. I don't care if they were chewed down to stubs. I took it out. All those little composition books that I bought. Oh yeah, they came with me. What am I gonna do with a composition book that's been written in it 4 times? I don't know, but it's mine now because I bought it. Okay? The pettiness runs deep. Please do not come on my show and test me. You better come correct or don't come at all. Yep. And the amount of people who I have seen, because she sent me screenshots. I love that. I live for it. I'm messy. But the amount of screenshots that Audra has sent me with people just being like rude, I'm like, in my mind, I was like, oh, these people would never see like the light of day. And the thing is, I'm also petty. So I'm like, I run the Melton Library. I would just casually take their book off and they're just like, oh, I don't know, it just didn't make it to the database. I submitted it 3 times. Really? Damn. I guess the file was corrupted.
Wow,
Never came through.
that damn database.
It just deletes things sometimes. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Computers. What can you do?
I say that, but I have literally emailed people being like, hey, so your episode's been canceled. Thank you for your interest, but I am not offering you an option to reschedule. Good luck with everything. Bye. Like, no, you do not have an option to reschedule. No, you do not have a chance to apologize. No, we are not mending fences. Good luck.
And before anybody comes in any comments or DMs talking about, well, y'all are just rude and disrespectful. No.
I return the energy that is given to me.
Yes. And what people need to understand is that, yes, I love doing this podcast. Yes, we both love making sure that people know about Black authors. But people think that we work for them, and people think that this is, that this isn't work, and it is work. And when you do this kind of work, I don't expect awards. Recognition would be nice. Yes, I'm human. I would love to get an award for my podcast. Haven't gotten one yet. I would love to. I guess my podcast just isn't good enough or whatever. I don't know, but I work as hard as I work hard on it. I always put forth the best product. But the stuff that we do, we do it because we love it and because we're passionate about it.
Yeah.
But it's still work. And the amount of authors who come in my DMs, come in her DMs, and I really love the ones that I call it the 1-2 punch.
They tag team us all the time.
Me, or they email her, and then she sends me something like, hey, this author email, and I'm like, yeah, I got that too.
Yeah.
And my favorite one was the person that
emailed me looking for you.
Emailed Chelsea looking for me.
Like, I'm sorry. Did you mean to email between the reads? Because this is the Written in Melanin podcast.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Are you not embarrassed?
Yeah. Like, for real. Come on.
But no.
And please don't email saying, oh, I had an author that emailed me and said, I love your show so much.
Which one?
And I want to be on it.
Which episode? Which episode do you love?
Yeah.
That's literally my question. Oh, I loved your podcast. Which one? Which one did you listen to?
I want to be on it. But then they say, I'd like to come on your show, and these are the things I want to talk about. So clearly you didn't listen to not one episode of my show, because if you did, you would know that you need to have a book, and that I will read the book and we discuss the book on the show.
I love the influencers who reach out. They're like, hi, I'm a health influencer, and I think I could really reach your audience. You mean the people who don't never leave their couches because they're reading a book? Those people?
Yeah,
you want to... I'm dead. Right. But no, I think a lot of it is people really treat this like it's corporate and we have to play nice. And it's just like, I checked with my boss and she said I could cuss you out whenever I felt like it. So just be prepared for that energy, right? Because even when I was corporate, I really didn't play nice. I was very polite about it. But I will also be like, so you're telling me that you're going to come on my show and tell me what questions I can ask you on my show that I put together to tell my audience. That's what you're saying. Oh, okay. So sometimes people have to hear how disrespectful they are, because I'm like, I'm Marie Kondo everything in my life. I will absolutely cancel an episode. I'm not Audra. Audra is very much the nice one between us, because I really and truly am like, there's a lot of things I have to put up with in my life. There are a lot of things that I have to deal with it. Me on my show and the things that I do, not one of them. Not one of them, bruh. So it's just kind of like, if you're going to be funny and not like he, ha, ha, we having a good time funny, but like, oh, I'm going to play in your face kind of funny, go play in the street somewhere, because I ain't got time.
Yep.
I ain't got time.
Just realize, y'all, that what we do, we love what we do, but it's a lot of work. And Chelsea and I equally put in way more than 40 hours into what we do. So
Don't let her lie to you, you guys. I do not work as hard as she does.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, she does.
I intentionally do not work as hard as you do.
She works hard.
I work hard. But
okay.
Audra, let me tell y'all something about Audra. Audra will read the book. I don't do that. Audra will come up with questions from the book. I'm not going to do that either. Audra will sit there and go edit the audio and then go back through it to find the clips. I ain't doing that either. And then she will make a sound bite to send you. I'm not doing that either. And then She will spend like 3 days promoting it. I ain't doing that either. Okay. When you come on my podcast, you can expect that I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm not going to read your book. We're talking about your author journey. So you as the author are going to be tasked with promoting your book with the questions that we talk about in regards to writing. Okay. Now, if you can't do that, that's your problem. But I'm going to give you the audience the time and the space to talk. But this is a mutual conversation. I am not The Price is Right. I'm not Farrah, whoever she is. Okay? I'm not here to just show your letters on the screen. That's not who I am.
That's not Price is Right.
I don't
Wheel of
know.
Fortune, and that's Vanna White.
Vanna White, Farrah, Wheel of Fortune, Wheel of Hoo-Ha. I don't know. I've never seen any of it. I only know it through.
Okay, she may not do the stuff that I do, but she still works hard, damn it. The point is,
I do work hard. I do work hard. And I do prepare questions. And I do promote it. No, I promote it if you promote it. Because if you don't promote it, best believe, baby, I am not going to do that either. Because I return the energy that I get. So if you ain't blasting no light at the mirror, you ain't going to get none back. Hate that for you. I've spent too much time putting together images and sound bites and being like, this was a really great interview, and being excited about it and posting about people and like hyping them up just to be like, oh, you didn't even follow me back on Twitter? Beesh. You misunderstood who I was. Okay? Because when I tell you I will delete an episode, I will unlist an episode. That's just 2 hours out of my day. I was sending you like dozens of readers. Huh. And hate that for y'all. Better luck next time. Maybe next time when you get to Audra, because you 1-2 punched us, you'll understand that you should be helping her promote your episode.
I will admit that I don't not promote. I still promote the episodes, even though.
See what I mean? She works harder than I do, and she's nicer than I am. Only because I've also learned, and if you're listening to this is like me being like totally real and honest with you guys. I've just learned over the course of my life with a lot of unfortunate interactions that I've had with people is that if you continue to give people energy when they don't deserve it, they will continue abusing it, and you will be sitting with yourself at the end of it being like, well, damn, why did I even do all of that if all I was going to do was feel like this? And it's just like, it's one thing if it happens once or twice, but I've learned that for me, I'm like, I'm not going to continue setting myself up for failure. If I know that if I make a left on this highway and it's going to bring me to a place I don't feel safe and I don't feel comfortable in a place I don't want to be, I'm not going to continue making the left on this highway. You have to prove to me that, okay, if I make this left, you are going to take me down a different path than what I've already been. And if you don't, well, I hate that for you, but you're no longer going to be on this ride. I'm going to pull over and very kindly or not so kindly, depending on how this conversation goes, ask you to get the fuck out. So it's just kind of like, that's just how my brain works, because I'm like we do this for free. And doing a podcast on the level that we do it is not free. So it's like, I'm investing my own time. I'm investing my own money. I'm investing my own energy. I am trying to hype you up because I get nothing from you having a really great interview aside from people coming to my podcast, because I don't run ads. I'm not having sponsorships. I get nothing out of this other than helping you. And if you in turn are going to turn around and bite the hand that's trying to feed you, I'm not going to continue extending my hand to you. I'm not going to continue giving you my time and my effort and my energy for what? Because I got other things to do. And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, I'm busy. No, like, I'm an author. I write books. I got other things to do. I run the Melon Library. I got other things to do. I got a whole ass husband in the other room. I got other things to do, bruh. Like, I'm taking time for this. So if you're going to be disrespectful, if you're going to undervalue it, if you're going to act like it's not important to you, then I'm going to return your energy, and I'm going to act like what you're offering isn't important. I'm going to act like what you're offering doesn't hold value. And I'm going to act like the book that you're trying to promote does not matter, because that's the same thing you're doing to me. It just so happens that we're intermingling right now. What you gave me is what I gave you back, which was absolutely nothing.
And that whole explanation right there is why I'm cutting back on the podcast this year. because, like I said, 161 authors on my show. And if you're listening and you're an author on this show and you're one of the ones that I'm getting ready to talk about, I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry.
I'm going to say this for her, anger translator. You get what you deserve. You know she talking about you, and you deserve that guilt sitting in your stomach right now because you know that you apply. If the shoe fit, wear it. All right? And if you out here hurting my girl Audra feelings, I ain't got no love for you, bruh. None.
Yep.
That being said, anger translation done.
161 authors on the show. And I could count on my hands and Chelsea's the number of those authors who have reposted on their page the soundbite. And I make it easy. I not only send you the soundbite in the email once the show is posted, with a link to your episode page, which stays up in perpetuity. So you can give that link to anybody at any time and they can go listen to your interview if they want to learn about your book. But I send you the soundbite, so all you have to do is download it and repost it. But I also send you a DM as a collaborator on Instagram. So all you have to do is hit accept and it will go right on your page.
That's it, you guys. You just have to say yes. That's it.
And the number of people who don't do that and also don't follow me on Instagram or follow me and then unfollow me after their episode airs, it's a lot, y'all.
Ask me how many books are archived on the Melanin Library Instagram page because you followed me and then unfollowed me. Ask me.
Don't do that, y'all. Like, look. Listen.
Ask me, because it's a lot.
Listen,
it's in the triple digits, you guys.
That's disrespectful. If you don't want to follow and you just follow because you want access to our platforms and our followers, okay, then just ask for the interview or whatever, but don't follow and then unfollow because that's just...
It's shady. Like,
that's
bruh,
really shady. Don't do that.
I would appreciate it more if you just didn't follow me and then you just emailed me for collaboration and then we collaborated and then you posted and got what you wanted and went about your day. Don't play in my face and be like, oh my God, I love you. I listen so much. Babes. Let me tell you something. Okay?
And they play in my face a lot. I love your show, and just, sunshine and applesauce all day long until they get that interview. And then once they get that interview and interacting on my posts, and all.
You know how I know you're a liar?
The show. And then once their show hits.
Here's the thing. I know how many downloads I get consistently. Okay? And I talk to those people who download it consistently because they talk to me about the episode because they know from listening to the episode how to get in contact with me. So I know that you're, first of all, lying to my face. But second of all, it cracks me up because I automatically know how this podcast is going to go the minute I get on there, because in my intro, I tell you guys that, hey, I'm the owner of the Melanin Library, an online database of books written by Black authors. And the look of shock and just absolute, I had no idea that was also you. Like, you go by C.M. Lockhart. I did not know that you were Chelsea of the Melanin Library. And I'm like, see, really?
Have not been listening.
Because this, like, literally 5 seconds into this podcast episode, that's the first thing I say. Literally first thing I say. And I don't hide my face on either platform, which means you've never been to the Melanin Library website either. And it's ironic because you reached out to me from the Melanin Library Instagram page, which is also weird because I'm like, I don't post the podcast on the Melanin Library. So why would you reach out to me through that? I am confusion. And then I'm like, y'all don't believe in critical thinking, do you? Like, I don't understand how you wrote a book if you can't connect dots. That's weird to me. Like, do you have a plot? We ain't never got from point A to point B before? Ever. Let me stop. I'm being shady. I can stop.
It's not shady. I mean, people be throwing shade at us all the time, and I'm trying to be, but I have to rant about it because it's
annoying. It's frustrating. It's irritating.
It's hurtful. And I know people are gonna be like, get over it. It's a podcast.
No, you've been working to this.
No, because the amount of authors that will come chase me down, hound me to be on the show, and then I send them the link to like book their episode, and then they take forever to book, but they hound me until I send them the link. And it's like, if you want to be on the show that bad, you hound me for a link, and then I send you a link, and you don't immediately book your episode.
Honestly, with some authors, I have just been like, this is your week. And I set it on Calendly, like, I have this week available. And it's like, okay, if you don't book within so many, this link is going to expire. Period. Once this week passes, this link isn't going to work. I do the same thing with the Melanin Network. When people are like, oh my God, you have a Discord server for Black authors. I want to be a part of it. That's so great. Okay. I go to Discord and I create a singular link. This is your link. You have one chance to get in and you got 7 days to do it. And if you don't, okay. But I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, just get in. Free for all. No, babes. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And
That's
it's
a good
just,
idea. Does Calendly, they have links that expire, right?
I'm
I have to look. I have to look into that, because if they do, guess what?
I
It's
just kind
about
of
to
create
be
a
some
unique
links
link
that
that I
expire.
delete. I just put like a I just put like an extra letter, because you know you create a unique URL. I just put like an extra letter and number at the end, and I set a notification in my calendar. So when it's like, oh, just go back to normal. Nope. Sorry, it's not working anymore. Can you send me another one? 8 weeks later, Jennifer. No.
And I could just hear people saying, well, people are busy. Well, we're busy too.
What the fuck you think I am? That's the crazy thing. Do you think I'm just sitting here at my desk like a fucking mannequin? Like, y'all are not in the kindergarten. Y'all realize y'all teachers go home, right? Like, I'm not a Barbie doll. You can't just leave me in the house and expect me to be there when you get back.
Right. Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird. And if you're listening to this, don't be a weird person. So
Don't be weird.
we've pitched you on game before, but it's 2024. So I'm gonna be real quick with you, real brief. Approach it with respect. Respond promptly. And when we ask you to send your headshot and bio, send your headshot and bio. And don't tell me what to say on the damn show. It's my show. I'm gonna say what I want to. You just need to be prepared. Know how to conversation.
Questions up front, because I'm not giving them to you, because I'm not going to have you going and preparing a whole damn novella for answer for each question.
Here's the thing. If you are not interesting, and I'm not saying this to be shady, I'm not saying this to be rude, I'm not saying this to hurt any feelings. If you know that you are not interesting, you cannot hold a conversation with a stranger. Do not ask to be on a podcast, because that is exactly what you are signing up for. You are signing up to have a conversation with a stranger for the next 30 to 45 minutes to an hour. And it needs to be interesting. If that's not your jam, you need to reach out to a bookstagrammer and just send them your book and ask for a review. That does not mean you need a podcast interview. Okay? If you want to be highlighted, when somebody is doing an event, be like, hey, could you highlight my book in your event? That's what you do. You don't ask to come on their channel and be a sore thumb on their podcast. And if you want to know if they would be a good fit for you, listen to an episode of the podcast. There's a reason why everybody keeps a backlog. They're not Instagram stories. They're not going to disappear in 24 hours. So just do your due diligence, because when you do, that ensures that, one, you have a good episode, most likely. Two, it'll actually get promoted, because let me tell you something. Audra's great, but most people err on the side of how I treat people. If you're not going to do your work, they're not going to do theirs, period. There are too many other people behind you ready to take your spot, to replace the content, to be spending it on someone who's not going to do their own legwork. So keep that in mind. And then also just respect the time. Like, that's it. So when you come to us, come correct. If you are going to ask to be on the episode, listen to one. I'm not saying you got to listen to the longest episode. This is Rants and Rambles. This episode is about to be about an hour and a half. I'm not saying you had to have listened to this episode in its entirety. But if you want to pick the shortest episode on her channel,
Most of my podcasts are like an hour or under.
Yeah. Get that junk, throw it on at 2 times speed while you doing your dishes, listen to what it's about, support, and then be like, do I want to be here? Because let me tell you something. Audra and I are great together, and we both have podcasts, and we both highlight Black authors in those podcasts. Our conversations are completely different on our individual platforms. So just because you might have a good conversation with me on Written in Melanin does not mean you're going to come to Between the Reads and also have a really great conversation, and vice versa. Just because you could talk to Audra, let me tell you something, Audra cares. Audra's going to make you feel comfortable. Audra's going to read your book and make you feel like you are the king of the world because she knows every little character detail. She knows that side character's name. She done kept details. She done wrote things down. She done highlighted, tabbed, dog-eared. She done wrote down notes. She done her research. She came prepared, okay? And then don't come to my podcast expecting that treatment, because if Audra is an A student, I am the one skirting by because my mom was best friends with my professor back in the 3rd grade, okay? It's a completely different energy, and I need y'all to understand that. And when you are doing your podcast rounds, you need to pay attention to that because it shows in the episode. And if you want to be invited back, and considering that there are not a lot of podcasts like ours that focus specifically on Black authors, oh baby, you want to be invited back. You want to be invited back.
There's a lot of book podcasts out there that really give the love to the Black indie authors. There are still a lot of readers out there, a lot of podcasters out there that have those preconceived notions about Black indie authors. And the whole point of my podcast, yes, I have traditionally published authors on my show too, more than I have Black indie authors, but that's not because I prefer them. It's because trying to find quality,
professional
Black indie authors is difficult.
Can be a challenge. And I'm gonna also tell you this, because Audra's not gonna say it, so I'm gonna say it for her, and I mean it. If y'all want Audra to keep reading y'all books, y'all need to start offering to send her complimentary copies, because Audra is a type who will actually, in the past, who has purchased the book, and while that's great, she has a platform. She has an audience. She has been doing the work. Y'all need to come to her. When I say come correct, I mean, you need to be coming with, hi, I would love to be on your podcast. I know that you read the books. Is it okay if I send you a complimentary copy for you to review before the podcast? Because here's the thing. When you send somebody a complimentary review, if they really like it, they're still going to purchase it to support you. You are not losing anything by sending her a complimentary copy. And you are actually helping yourself, because if you send her something physical, she's going to put it on her Instagram where she actually has a significant following. You're only helping yourself. The problem is, y'all, some of y'all, and if the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, baby, don't put it on. But some of y'all really need to sit down and think about how you're marketing your book versus just shooting in the dark. Because when you market your book, that is a strategy. That is a plan. There is a system to it. And if you want it to work, there is going to be investment, like sending your book to people. And that is okay. But you know what's more important? Sending a book to Audra, who's going to do an unboxing on her channel, who's going to read it, who's going to leave a review on Goodreads, who is going to talk about your book in casual conversation to other readers, who's going to have you on her podcast, who's going to make graphics for you, who's going to promote you. I just listed off 9 different things that she's going to do to help you promote your book, but you want to give one to your mama and your auntie who gonna put it in their nightstand. They can buy the book.
Yep.
Anyway, that's free game. It's we've been on here for almost going on an hour and a half. I'm not telling Audra how to run her show.
It's an hour and 16 minutes and 40 seconds.
It's gonna take us like 15 minutes to say goodbye. So you don't even play. But I am going to do a slight plug. If you guys want actual writing tips and such from me, I'm actually being consistent with my YouTube channel this year. So there are videos up there, and I actually have one for minimalist marketing that tells you how to market your book, quick and dirty tips. It's like 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 2 times speed is like 3 minutes. Wow. I would not recommend that though, because apparently I talk fast, and when you try to speed me up, I become unlegible. You cannot understand what I'm saying.
It becomes a chipmunk.
That's cool. That just means that I like to give dense videos. Like, I don't want you to be sitting in my video for like 15 minutes. You're like, okay, that could have been faster. Like, I did not need to be here for 15 minutes.
Right. Yep.
But anyway,
Get
into it.
Get into it, y'all. So I will put all of Chelsea's socials in the show description so you can.
Because she's amazing like that. You're welcome.
So you can reach out to her. You can reach out to me, betweenthereads.com, and I will put all of my socials in the show notes. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Rants and Rambles. If we made you mad, then I'm not sorry, because that means you need to do some work. You need to do some introspection, and
You need to talk to your Jesus and get right.
You need to support. You want people to support you. It is a two-way street. You must be supportive if you want support. Like the Bible says, a man who wants friends must first show himself friendly. So,
I didn't know that was in there.
yep. So, I'm just saying, if you mad, you throw a rock in a pack of dogs, the only one that yelps is the one that got hit.
Hit dog gonna holler every day. Heard me?
That is the country ass, bamified way of saying what I just said.
Hit dog gonna holler every time. That's how we say it in South Carolina. I'm not even from South Carolina, you guys. That's like my family's from there, but I am not South Carolinian. I'm not claiming that.
She's North Carolinian. So.
And if you live in the Carolinas, you understand that those are two completely different places.
Yes, they are. I know. I have family in both. They are definitely two different places.
Two different places, two different cultures.
Totally different. Totally different. So anyway, this has been Rants and Rambles for January 2024. And February, by the time you hear this, will be upon us. So don't waste another month. You got some goals, you got some dreams, you got some things you want to do. Write them goals down and start taking steps every day towards those goals. CM Lockhart, Audra Russell, Between the Reeds. Until next time, y'all, you know what to do. Grab a book and read.
Don't be racist, read a book.
See, that's why this shit is going to be an hour and a half. Because you doing stuff like that.
Just want to throw it in there as a reminder.
Don't be racist.
Or read a book.
Read a book. We out, y'all.
Thank you for lending me your ear today. If you've enjoyed this independent podcast, you can help me continue to shine the light on Black authors and their stories by becoming a patron at patreon.com/betweenthereads, or by giving a one-time gift at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. That's ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Tune in next time for another great episode.